Hey guys, DJ Be Quiet from Divine Sound and Lighting and Empire DJ Network. I want to talk to you today about DMX and give you an overview of what it is and how it works. Basically, DMX is digital multiplexing signal. It's a digital signal. It's a communication protocol for stage lighting and effects and intelligent lighting. Basically, to use DMX, you'll probably need there's several different methods in which you can employ DMX. One of those is you can use cables, DMX cables, and those come in either 3-pin or 5-pin DMX setups. With the 3-pin, which is the most commonly used, or the most often used method. It's pretty straightforward and can be confused with using mic cables or XLR mic cables, because a DMX cable is pretty much an XLR, but it can be confused with a mic cable. And it is not warranted for you to use a mic cable, in that you may damage your fixtures with a mic cable, because there are different shieldings on the mic cable versus the DMX cable. It will work, however, I would not suggest it or recommend that you do use it. If you use a $4 or $5 mic cable, you may destroy your $900 intelligent moving headlight. Or you may mess up the components inside. It has been said that it does that, but I would recommend just using only strictly DMX cable with DMX fixtures, respectively. Also, with the 5-pin, again, there's a 3 and 5-pin DMX cable that you can use as far as cabling. With the 5-pin, or between the 3-pin and the 5-pin, basically there's two other pins, which is the 4th and 5th pin, which is a data 1 and data 2 positive and data 2 negative, and this basically for data throughput, and that's exactly what it's used for. And typically it's just an uncommonly used method for certain fixtures, but you can purchase a 3-pin to 5-pin adapter, or a 5-pin to 3-pin adapter, if you have any one of those type of fixtures or cabling, to solve your issues with your difficulty with if you purchase for instance, if you purchase a fixture with a 5-pin DMX and you only have 3-pin, just buy a 5-pin to 3-pin adapter and you'll be set. Also, outside of the wired cable usage, you have the wireless operations, or excuse me, you have with the cables, you can use a DMX splitter. What a DMX splitter does, basically, it takes a signal and it amplifies that signal, and it continues that signal through one of many ports that you can purchase with these particular types of DMX splitters. For this one, I paid $25 for on eBay, and I had to purchase my own adapter, 12-volt adapter. My DMX signal, my 3-pin DMX input signal, goes from my controller to here and then out one of these 8 ports on each side. And as you can see in the schematic, the signal travels in here and comes out these 4 or 8 ports on each side. This works great. I bought this 7 years ago off eBay and I had no problems with this. They do make different kinds of controllers or splitters. They can be small converter type splitters like this one, or rail or rack mounted splitters, linking cables to cables. And with these, they just pretty much preserve and duplicate the signal, and expand expand your DMX network to a greater capacity. You can use more. Fixtures with a splitter, and they also increase the capabilities of dividing the signal and boosting them as well. With these, you can also daisy chain a DMX splitter. You can come out of one and into another one, and so on and so forth. So these are, you can definitely link these or daisy chain these together in multiples of more than one. So that is a DMX splitter. With the wireless DMX protocols, they basically have 2.4, I believe, and 5.8 gigahertz. To the 2.4 is the most commonly used versions of DMX, wireless DMX operation. They have been known to travel somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3,000 feet or 900 and something meters or something like that. But under ideal conditions, you're looking at right around 1,000 feet to maybe 1,500 feet for reliable operation of your wireless DMX fixtures. And you also want to keep in mind that you want to use this as line of sight. And if you don't have line of sight, that you may have some problems with your DMX fixtures being able to receive the signal properly. I have here the Chauvet D-Fi wireless 2.4 gigahertz transmitter here. I have my, you go in from your controller out once again to this, and it sends a signal to a wireless receiver or another wireless receiver or transmitter, and they make different versions of these as well between American DJ. There are different manufacturers that make these, but I bought this one for about $100, maybe like 80 bucks. I'm sorry, 70 bucks. I'm sorry. And I have had this for about 3 years, and it's worked great. This transmits to a wireless receiver, which is what I have here. This is the Chauvet wireless 2.4 gigahertz D-Fi 2.4 gigahertz wireless transmitter and receiver. So this acts as a receiver and a transmitter as well, so I can transmit from this and receive from this. I have one of these, and I have 3 of these units, so I can basically make 3 setups. I have 3 different setups and have them wirelessly, and reduce the amount of cable runs that I have, and make my setup and teardowns a lot easier. This has a 3-pin, a 3-pin and a 5-pin out, in and out, and then a 5-pin, as you can see, 5-pin and a 5-pin in and out right there. It also comes with a adapter, a power adapter that you can use. And basically, like I said, you can use this as a transmitter and a receiver. Works great. I've had this for the same amount of time that I've had my receiver. Like I said, so they use line of sight, and in the event that you don't have line of sight, that you may have some problems with your fixtures being able to receive the proper signal to said fixture or fixtures. Now with all DMX, you're going to need some type of source to create a DMX signal, and you can use these. There are lots of versions of these you can use. There are hardware-based controllers and software-based controllers, and with hardware-based controllers like your Chauvet or your Obey 30 or Obey 40, that represents it sends a signal out from that hardware controller to your first fixture, or to a wireless transmitter, or to a splitter, or a combination of the two, and it goes on to the next, and so on and so on and so on. And usually there are limitations with hardware-based controllers in that they only have so many channels built into them. They are making bigger versions of those. I believe they have like CompuShow, and they have like the advanced Road Hogs and the Grand MA. which is the advanced versions of these hardware controllers that you can do intricate light scenes and light shows with. But we're keeping it at a basic level right now, so we're just going to stick with like a Obey 70, Obey 40, or Obey 10. And those usually just, you know, they have the limitations on them with the number of channels that you can use with those, so you're limited to a set of a limited number of fixtures with those particular type of fixtures that you can control individually. Now you can put them on master slave and control one, and they'll do whatever. You can control a limited number, however many number you can daisy chain with whatever particular fixture, and you just set one to master and others to slave, and then they'll just do everything that the first one does. And you can have an unlimited number like that. But in order to take control of your light scenes and your light shows, I would definitely recommend getting a software-based USB controller that converts, it's achieved by a computer interface that converts the USB signal to a DMX signal using DMX software, basically. So I have a Chauvet Show Express 512 box here. I first started off with the My DMX 2.0, I believe, and I switched to the Chauvet Show Express. They have many different versions of these, and Enlighten, Sweet Light, Show Express, My DMX. They make many different versions of these controllers. You can buy one that suits your needs. I love this one because it was easiest to use. It was easiest to learn, and there were a ton of videos out there on YouTube for me to learn this particular software-based controller. And I've had this for about 2 years now, maybe 3 years, and I've had no problems from this. This costs about $350. Typically the software will be free, and you just purchase the controller, which will be a ton of money, so prepare yourself. But like I said, they make different versions of these, and you can just go out there and do some shopping around and see what's out there. But some of the most popular ones are Enlighten, Sweet Light, Chauvet Show Express, and My DMX, which is through American DJ. They make different versions or different limitations on these particular types of software-based controllers. They have the dongle, which is what I'll get into now. Well, with this, they have the dongle. They have the Show Express 512, and then they have the Show Express 512 Plus. They also have the My DMX Buddy, and they have the Chauvet. I mean, they have the American DJ My DMX, which are the two of the popular ones that are out now. And I'll tell you the difference between the two. These here. The dongle is basically a 100 channel DMX controller that you can control up to 100 channels with. And that will be the Chauvet Show Express dongle, and the My DMX Buddy, which I think holds 100 or 125, maybe 100, I think. But they hold about 100 channels of DMX, and you can control up to 100 channels of DMX with that. With the 512, you of course have 512 channels, or one universe. This is one universe that you're looking at, which is 512 channels of DMX, just like the My DMX 2.0 fixture as well, and the other ones that are out there as well. They do make more. They do make bigger versions of these that you can control. But like I said, you get into more expensive rigs, or light hardware rigs, or software-based controller rigs, and they tend to get more expensive. With the controllers, as far as DMX is concerned, you want to purchase one of these with the thought that you're going to either expand your lighting inventory. For instance, if you have, which brings us into my next section, which is DMX channels. You're limited by those hardware-based controllers by the number of channels that it holds. So Obey 10 is 10 channels, Obey 70 or Obey 40 is 40 or 70 channels, so on and so forth. But with the software-based controllers, you have 512 or 100, or with the, I know with the Show Express Plus, the difference between that one and this Show Express 512. So there's a Show Express 512 and a Show Express 512 Plus. The Plus, you can save scenes into it, and in the event that you need to disconnect or it becomes disconnected, you can run scenes straight from this box and not the computer. It also will allow you to link multiple boxes of the 512 Plus to each other, up to 6 boxes for a total of 3,060 channels. So if you have if you have 600 channels, you can link, or 630 channels, you can link 2 of these together, and you'll be able to have enough channels, or excuse me, 2 universes to make and run your light scenes and light shows. So these are linkable. Only the 512 pluses are linkable. I'm not for sure if they make that in a version for American DJ or any other out there, but I know that you can link up to 6 of these together, the 6 of the 512 pluses, and not the 512, the 512 pluses, and you can have up to 3,060 channels. So if you have a problem with, for instance, if you have 7 RGB par cans and they take 7 channels each, that's a total of 7 times whatever many cans you have, which is 7 times, you have 7 par cans, 7 par cans, and they take 7 channels each. That's 7 or 9. Let's just say you have 9 par cans and they take 7 channels each. That's 9 times 7, which is 54. And you have 54 out of 100, which is the dongle. So if a dongle holds 100 channels and you have 9 par cans, that's 54 of your 100 channels used already. So if you foresee yourself expanding your lighting inventory, then you may want to purchase something a little bit bigger than just 100 channels. Typically 512 does a lot of people justice, but if you need more, you can always expand and go to a 2nd or 3rd or 4th universe, so on and so forth. So that is something that you can do. Also with the with your setup, you may want to purchase a DMX terminator. A terminator is used when you're using a lot of DMX fixtures on one single DMX line, or multiple DMX lines, and it removes, or a single, well, one per line, and it removes a lot of noise and flickering on a DMX transmission line, and it improves the reliability of your fixtures. If you typically, a DMX signal travels at the speed of, it travels at 60% of the speed of light. So that is when you send a DMX signal down a line, whether it be or through wireless, it pretty much travels at 60% the speed of light. So when it travels down that line, that DMX cable line, there is without a DMX terminator, a percentage of that signal is reflected back up the cable, and what you can do is in order to stop that, or you need something to absorb as much of that signal as possible, you'll need to put a terminator on the end of your last fixture, typically about XLR plug about that big, and it may come with an LED on the end of it or whatnot, but you'll put that on the end of your last fixture, and it will terminate your DMX signal so that you can absorb that DMX digital signal, so that it doesn't do any what's called reflecting or shadowing or bouncing back up the cable, or bouncing back and messing up your light show, and those DMX terminators are used in runs of about 500 feet I would recommend, if you're using them about 250 feet of cable, that you put a DMX terminator on the end of your last fixture at the end of that cable run, your end of your light fixtures, as far as the termination of your signal goes. So that is DMX termination. If I've missed anything, please feel free to drop a question at the bottom, and I'll do my best to answer it. If you have any questions, again, or you can just inbox me. I hope this video helps you guys out. My name is DJ Be Quiet with Divine Sound and Lighting and the Empower DJ Network. Peace.